You feel like you're falling backwards?
I feel awkward. This
Oh.
feels like an awkward position.
Well, lean like I am. Your head is like, wait, I don't know what you're doing.
Anyway.
We're in a different locale here.
We sure are.
If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see that we are on a river.
Yep, in Carrabelle, Florida. Coincidentally, the Carrabelle River. Mm-hmm. Coincidentally, an active construction scene, so we apologize about that. I'm going to fix what I can.
Someone's working on their dock back there behind us.
I guess trying to get that knocked out. Yeah, we're on the beautiful Carrabelle River. That is, midway down the panhandle of Florida. It's about an hour and a half from where I grew up. And we are just down here for the Christmas holiday.
And yet we're keeping up the pod.
Yeah, got to put the work in. Got to put the work in. Yeah, we sure are. So it's been, it's been a bit of a week. I mean, we had to have done some stuff, right?
For me, though, it really slowed down. Like,
right.
We got past, I got past those 3 different gigs with 3 different bands last weekend. And then I had a light teaching week, and I just was able to kind of do the things I wanted to do work-wise. I still got a lot done, but I didn't have to get anything done at any particular time. I love working like that. So it was slow for me, but I think it was still pretty busy for you.
Yeah, it was still pretty busy for me. Other than, and I won't go into it, I had a couple clients that we had talked about a ton on the phone about this and that in their project, and then they just had to get it in on their winter break. And then, we talked about it a ton, and then I had Kristen confirm it. And then sort of last minute, they were like, oh, by the way, probably going to catch you again in the new year or whatever. And so the extra 2 days that we were staying in town before Christmas wound up being a wash. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so slowed down in that sense. But anyway, still cranking on projects and recording, and we did half in rehearsal, and we've put together this really cool cover of I Think We're Alone Now, which was originally the Shondells, I think. It's like a 60s song, and then Tiffany famously did it.
Right. I think we're alone now.
Yeah.
That it doesn't seem to be anyone around. That one.
And it's just kind of an indie punk version of that. And so we were working on writing that, and the big plan is we're going to record that as soon as we get back. So I got to get on booking some studio time. I've just hated to reach out to Mateo when he should maybe be taking some sort of day or 2 off.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll get back on that. But anyway, it got a little slower, and then we traveled out here.
And that was an adventure.
We had an adventure.
You did not enjoy?
I did not. So on the first flight was an intensely uncontrollable, not directly next to me, but one next to me and one back, was a young lady who was uncontrollably sobbing. I mean, racking, gasping sobs. And as you guys,
I laugh, but I feel so bad.
It was,
poor
and I'm
girl.
a very nervous flyer, so that was not helping me. And in fact, I turned around to her at one point, and I was like, "We are feeling the exact same right now. Just so you know, you are not the only person scared right now." It's also as terrifying to me because that Denver, there's always a little turbulence going out of Denver that direction, but sometimes it can be. It's not that it's violent, but it's kind of ongoing, and you get banged around for kind of a while. And just every time we would get even a little bump, she was clearly not. And
meanwhile, I was seated like halfway up the plane because we have different flight plans because I'm coming home soon. So we weren't seated together, and I just fell asleep. I slept the whole way.
Yeah.
No problem for me.
So we were, and there was all this commotion because like flight attendants were coming back and trying to like calm her down. And she was, honestly, a very brave person because she was also very rational in between the sobs and was like, "I'm so sorry. I'm okay. I just can't help it." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." Like, I also know this is safe, but it does not feel safe. Which was the other thing I told her. I was like, "Dude, your feelings are valid. Like everybody keeps telling you shouldn't be. Here's all the reasons not to be scared. Your feelings may not be accurate. We are perfectly safe here." But yeah, this feels scary. Like it really does. Like if it's,
I'm sure you were a big help to her.
Yeah, well, I get it. I'm totally scared of flying. And I'll tell you a good reason why. On our second leg of our flight, we took off, and it didn't seem right to me, honestly. It felt like they were doing it a little different. I've flown out of Charlotte a lot, and it just didn't feel like it was quite right. And then sure enough, we got about 20, 30 minutes in, and they were like, we're going to have to turn around and go back to Charlotte. There's a mechanical problem. And then it wasn't that bumpy, but we did a few of those swoopy things. Here's the funny thing. That is the second time on that airline from that airport on that model of plane that someone has just not closed a door correctly.
And you've had to turn around and go back.
And we've had to turn around and go back to Charlotte. Granted, the last time was worse because as soon as we got any altitude, the front door, like the door you walk in, was not latched.
Yeah.
And so the only thing keeping it shut was the air pressure. And so it was just like...
That's insane.
Yeah. So, it was exciting. It took us quite a bit longer than... We got back to Charlotte and it got us on another plane. I had a few drinks in me. And
we weren't sure if we were going to be renting a car and driving from Charlotte to Tallahassee.
It was a close thing. It was a close thing. I was not sure I was going to be able to get back on that plane, but we did it. And,
Good job.
man, those Eagles, I hate that model of plane. Never goes good on an Eagle. I got to start checking when I'm booking flights. Like, don't get on an Eagle. Yeah. Sorry to disparage that entire model of airplane. Just my experience. So we got here and we had a great Christmas Eve and Christmas. Mm-hmm. And here we are.
Turkey and the fixins and, presents and everything. Yeah. So we're here now and knocking out the podcast, which we almost forgot to do.
Right. So you're more or less off this week. Music week wise, I am just from things kind of getting scrunched there at the end of the year. I still have work to do. I literally ordered a guitar to show up here.
To show up here?
To show up here.
Oh my gosh.
Well, not here at the river, but here at my mom's house. So when you leave, I'm spending the next 3 or 4 days working on guitar tracks for a few people that I did not get done.
Oh. With a newly purchased guitar?
With a newly purchased guitar. Okay. So I'll also have a guitar review for you guys next time. I've been dying to a company I like called Monoprice. And we've bought cables from them. If you need just random audio and home audio and all this stuff, they're a great deal. And they started making guitars. Well, they don't make them. They're made in the same factory as where any cheap guitar, there's like 2 factories that make all of them. And anyway, it was $100. And I was like, let me see how this $100 guitar is. Because I've heard from a number of people that they're not all that bad.
Huh.
Kurzweg has bought a couple of them, and he's like, yeah, you got to, set it up, but
wow,
usable, not good, but usable. But I've been dying to see, so I was like, well, this is 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah.
And then I get to leave a guitar at my mom's house, so whenever I do go home, there's a guitar there.
Oh, perfect.
Which is one of my main complaints about being out of town for a week is I miss playing guitar. So, anyway, and then even tonight, I think after dinner, I'm going to set up. And I have to finalize the Lee Clark Allen album I've been talking about forever. He is going to LA early January, first couple days of January, to master his album, which a guy, and I can almost tell you the name, but anyway, he has several platinum records as a mastering guy. He's mastered Kendrick Lamar, et cetera, et cetera. So Pat went big on Lee went big on the mastering side of things, and I fully support it, but that made it so I'm going to be remote cranking out the mastering bounces. So the mixes are done. So like the final process of mixing is just rendering the files and delivering them. So that just means basically everything's all set. I don't have to do any changes. I just need to then turn those files that are in the computer into a file I can then hand on to the next person in the process. So that is something that can be done remotely pretty easily. Okay. And this is not a bad location to do that kind of work. So yeah, that's my music life weekly.
Yeah.
And last week, and we'll try to knock another one out, and maybe I'll do some fun, random other ones. And
right. Well, you're going to be hanging out with your old band.
Yeah, we've been talking about going down to see the No Address guys at the end of this week.
I mean, I won't be there, but you'll be there. And another thing I actually might be doing over the next week or so is arranging music for the pop-in choir.
The pop-in
choir, which is it's turning into a pop-in choir, like pop in when you can. So there's not a ton of cool pop rock music arranged for choirs.
Right.
And I did arrange some music for my a cappella group in college. Not that any of it ever got used, because my path in a cappella was I joined an a cappella group my freshman year.
That was already going.
We played a whole bunch, and then I decided that next summer to start the Stanford water ski team. So I did that. And at the beginning of the year, it became apparent to me that I could either do a cappella or start the water ski team. I could not do both.
That makes sense.
It was 2 rehearsals and a show every week. So it was.
That's a schedule.
Yeah. So I quit the a cappella group. But over the summer, I had arranged a handful of songs for the group.
Right.
One of them was Everybody Wants to Rule the World, which they actually did the first round.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did.
I had a purely a cappella version. I mean, a cappella versus choir. I mean, like, it's a little different feel. The a cappella thing is more like beatboxy, and like voices are taking the place of instruments.
Yeah, even if it's not a full-on a cappella, whatever, with the beatboxing and stuff, you're still, voices are taking more parts. Whereas choir is sort of more like, here's the melody, and then here's a 4-part harmony of the melody.
I mean, there's some parts trading off and stuff, so that the sopranos don't always get the melody.
Right.
But it's going to be fun to arrange for the group I know, meaning pop choir. So we've got, it's going to be 3 parts, soprano, alto, bass.
Okay.
Tenors can move up or down as they want. Probably
Makes sense.
And then knowing that we're going to have a band behind them. So that means that we don't have to worry about somebody taking over some beatboxing parts to give it percussion.
Right.
And we don't need to have someone just singing bass notes so that we have roots.
Right.
So it's going to be fun. But I tossed Joe a handful of ideas for songs that could hold up well. But of course, I did that on Christmas. So I concluded with a note: do not reply to me today. Your boss texting you on Christmas Day.
Well, I've been doing the
do
same
not
thing.
reply to me.
Yeah, I've been doing the same thing. Like, I don't want to bother people.
So I'm working, but that's my sick prerogative, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm having a great time doing very little. I'm reading books on my phone, and I am staring at the water and drinking beer and sleeping a lot.
So much beer, you guys. We're so off the rails on the budget for this vacation.
Yeah.
It's
all my fault.
Anyway, I guess that's sort of it. We are
It's a light week.
It's a light week, and we just want to express to those of you who do watch the show. And I was looking at some numbers recently, and it's not that it doesn't get watched.
It's like a solid 50.
Yeah, it seems to be, and we're my point being, we're coming up on 200 episodes, and we're coming up on the new year.
No, 100 episodes.
Oh, sorry, 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, 100 episodes.
Yeah.
The point I was trying to make is we're just very grateful, and we really appreciate it, and you feel it all the more in these end of the year holiday times, and we're just so glad that we're still having fun, and we're gonna still keep doing it till we're not having fun. So, too bad for you. That was my point.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
Yeah. Well, cool. We are sponsored, as always, by Performance High.
Voice and Music Studio.
And the lovely city of Carrabelle.
Carrabelle, Florida.
Carrabelle, Florida, site of World War II training for D-Day. So that'll be interesting. Maybe we'll get to go to the museum.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Cool. Thank you so much.
See you next week.